Yo, what's up, everybody? 20 seconds left, guys. This is nuts for the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis showdown. We haven't had one of these in forever, guys. And, guys, it is starting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
My name is Ninewholegrains. I'm a Splatoon.
It is starting, guys. We are back with Mallona, Ninewholegrains, and Jordan from the Splatoon 2 Fresh 4 Championship.
And I cannot be more excited to bring the action to you here today.
Hi everybody, my name is Mallona and I'm an enthusiastic squid kid just like you. Today we're joined by two teams, Not FT Win and Starburst, two of the best teams in North America duking it out for a trophy featuring Judd and Lil Judd. Without further ado, let's take it to game number 1.
Look at that.
Game 1 was a story of decisive movement and trusting your game plan. And boy, did these teams get it started early.
That's right, Nine. We can see here Kyo getting an early splatted by Bran and Ice. And both members of Starburst moving to that advantageous positioning. And,
the game's
really
starting already.
Holding down that zone where they need to be.
It's not easy to take back against this team, and take a look at how Not FT Win did it. Look at all those bombs flying from left to right. Booyah bombs, suction bombs, splat bombs. Woo! Had to back all the way back and give up the zone there.
Much bombs.
Yeah,
Inks.
and we can catch
That's
that
actually smart.
in case you missed a little bit of that action. As we can see here, some of those suction bombs running in and trying to catch that zone from Not FT Win. And
what Pam, bro?
Notice is that
holy crap, this is going to be a good one.
Specials to hold that zone, and because there's power in numbers, Nine.
There absolutely is power in numbers. I see what you did there, and this is actually a strategy that they used multiple times throughout this game. We actually have it from the perspective of Bagel this time, who is lined all the way back, tossing the suction bombs from as far away as possible, understanding that they need to stay on the map if they want to take the zone. Out the corner of your eye, you'll also see that Kyo had jumped down with another bomb rush as well. It was just enough to take the zone back as they were on the verge of defeat. With just over 10 seconds left, they bought themselves some more time.
And like we said, positioning. Biscuit here is taking kind of a dangerous position. And
that's dangerous.
Using
Ice destroyed Biscuit.
Space and take a more advantage spacing so that they can protect the zone.
The two teams traded punches back and forth through the rest of it until this final decisive hold here from FT Win. Bagel once again gets it started out with that suction bomb rush, but take a look here. Holding down this area by this fan to ensure that his teammates could move up. You're going to see here just in a moment, Kyo backs up here next to Bagel and uses another bomb rush in order to force the members of Starburst all the way back. Once they got this portion of the map, Mallona, they never let it go.
That's right, Nine. And we see that timer ticking down, and this was the decisive play that gave them the victory.
Starburst win. I think Starburst won.
A fantastic game number 1, and let me tell you, when we saw that game number 1 looked like this, we knew we're in for one heck of a set. And speaking of that set, let's go ahead and throw it right into the middle with game number 4.
As we enter game 4 of the Fresh 4 Championship, Not FT Win only has one more game to claim the victory. Starburst is
Not FT Win won.
So they opt to change their weapon composition to something a little longer ranged.
What Starburst gained in a bit of range, they gave up in mobility. About halfway through the game, Not FT Win took advantage of a slight overextension and used that speed to
Starburst
is
done.
Starburst as they went on to score.
Yo, no way, bro. They already broke that barrier. Oh my god.
Game's waning seconds.
And with 30 seconds left on the clock, Starburst is going to have to make some big moves to get some points on the board.
It's unbelievable.
Over there and getting a pick off of Not FT Win is going to be huge. It's going to give them a little bit of area to move forward, and it's going to make Not FT Win retreat.
They took advantage of that almost immediately. You can see Bran and Jared at the top of the screen attacking Not FT Win's flank. In the meantime, Ice and
this
Bran
one's
wait
close.
patiently for that attack.
I think FT Win got the
Bran
dub though.
rotates back, Ice moves in with a huge score that starts the bonanza.
That's game.
The rest of the members
FT Win
swarm as
won.
quickly as they can.
It's overtime. It's overtime. And Starburst took the W.
Starburst is finally on the board, and the momentum starts
Ladder on the board.
in their favor. That will bring us to an exciting exciting game
73 to
Let's take a look here.
71 count.
We had finally arrived at Game 7, the championship point. The two rivals had treated us to another incredible set in their storied history. But it was
Tied up
finally
at
time
3.
to determine a
Next
winner
one
and
wins.
heroes to be made.
Our first big play was made by Ice.
Yeah,
and
Ice.
Servers surviving an unlikely 2v1 right here, and this gives Starburst the ability to push up a little bit.
Yeah.
And Ice, taking that aggressive positioning, is able to charge their special, the Stingray. By using the Stingray, they are able to kind of produce a little bit of covering fire
I guess, yeah.
take out hopefully a member or two of Not FT Win, helping that Rainmaker make its first push.
Not to be outdone by
Rainmaker's
his teammate,
reset.
Bran went on an absolute tear this game, hitting an incredible double direct with this Inkjet and getting a second pick on
Yo,
kill from Not FT Win.
my
This push
God.
looked like it might take the points the distance as the team moved
I
closer
should get
and
that
closer
in
to
chat
getting
in
that
Splatoon
knockout.
Robux.
What
If they have
Starburst
it.
wasn't anticipating was Biscuit waiting for them as they were making that push. Biscuit
Yeah.
able to hold that defensive positioning and take a couple of members of Starburst down allows for an opening for Not FT Win to make a push.
In their final desperate push, FT Win placed all their cards in the correct position. Kyo and Bagel moved up, taking
I think
out
FT
3
Win-
members, with the last one being Brandroid. In an
Either
incredible,
FT Win-
unlikely
Oh, they
fight,
lost to
Brandroid was able
Rainmaker.
to take out all 3 members of Not FT Win, securing the victory for his team.
Oh, let's go.
But that was a lot of action in one go. So let's take a look.
That
look
was
at
a
that
lot of
in
action.
slow-mo. As we can see here, 2D is holding a defensive positioning, trying to defend against Bran, getting a lot of support from their teammates. And in this one last final opportunity to make the push, unfortunately, Brandroid is able to stop all 3 members of Not FT
Yes.
Win in one go, giving the victory to Starburst.
That's it for Not FT
At
Win.
the end of this
Starburst
historic
won
set,
that
Starburst completed an
game.
incredible reverse sweep to earn their very first North American Championship.
And 9, I for one cannot wait to see Not FT Win and Starburst duke it out on the battlefield once again.
We hope you'd enjoyed this recap of the Splatoon 2 Fresh 4 Championship 2021.
Oh, is that
Till
it
next time,
already?
stay fresh.
Okay, is that already
Whether it's
done?
to play your favorite game,
This is an ad now.
to play for school pride,
Thanks.
or for the thrill of competition. Play competitively with Play Versus. Visit playvs.com today for more information.
In this house, we duel.
Here we go.
In their house, we duel. In our house, we score. We love teaming up. And we love a little competition.
Oh, it's okay. You got it next time. You got it next time. Ready?
Whether it's with family, friends, or rivals near and far.
This is the end. What?
So whichever sport you choose, victory could be just within reach. You ready to play? Nintendo Switch Sports. Available now only on Nintendo Switch.
Okay, I'm back in. Oh my god. Mario Strikers Battle League. You all know I have that game. I don't know when I'm gonna do a part 3 to it. 'Cause I think the new update came out already. I don't know when I'm gonna do it though. Because you all know that the new update came out in the Direct, the 9.13 Direct. You all saw it. I also cut it into another clip of just the video itself. I screamed my head off on that one. That was insane. I love the music when Mario just goes on a bicycle. Get hyped for Strike. Mario Strike is battle. Available now. Well, it was at the time. It came out in June the 10th. I think that's when it came out.
Well, happy Saturday and welcome into the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022 event number 2. I'm your spray-by-spray host, Jordan Kent. And joining me, two of the finest Splatalists in all of Inkopolis. First, even though he's a 10 in my book, he goes by 9. 9, great to have you here. And what we have here, I think it feels like it took us about 1 in 4,096 tries to get him on the cast. We have Shiny joining us. And gentlemen,
Shiny.
A lot to be excited about
This is a new
today.
member.
But you two have
Never
looked at the
seen
4
Shiny
teams
before.
that have made it here to the finals of Event 2. And there's a lot to talk about as far as some of the history that they bring to the table. And 9, let's start with you. What stands out about these 4 teams today?
Yeah, this is one of the first times that we have seen in the finals of a North American Open 4 teams in our top 4 who have all competed at this stage within the last few months. Between the March Open and last week's event, all of these teams have been on this stage and they battled it out. You know this isn't going to be too big of a show for them.
And Shiny, obviously Starburst is one of those teams you keep an eye on, their rich history. What helps them really stand out as most likely the favorite teams today?
Starburst, very rich.
Well, it's not just
I don't
the
know
history,
what he
it's
got
how
out in the
fastidiously
first
they
round
practice.
last
They really
Splatoon 2
care and enjoy
Inkopolis.
playing the game and how deep it can get in terms
This is
of
such
the
a
different
rich team,
nuances
though.
you can find
They're like
with gear
so. It's
and making sure that your
unbelievable.
weapons are not just meta but fit your team composition. They have amazing skills both at the back line and with how aggressive they can be.
Yeah, very well said. And before we get to the rules for the semifinals here coming up, there are some prizes our teams are playing for, and the grand prize will be the gaming chair, the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022 trophy. Along with that, 10,000 My Nintendo Gold points. You've got a gaming headset, Splatoon 2 jacket, a backpack, and a Nintendo Switch carrying case. So obviously a lot to play for here. But amongst this tight-knit
Dang, bro.
it's just a chance to add another championship.
So much to
the
freaking
wall
pay
here. Let's go
for.
ahead and take a look at the rules for these semifinals coming up. It will be best of 5. And one
Best
important
of
thing
5
to
for
keep
the
in
first
mind
2
is that
games, just
after
like the last
first
Splatoon
game,
2
the losing
Inkopolis.
team
By the
will
way, that
choose the
video
mode for the next
took
game,
me forever
and
to
the winner
upload
will
it,
choose
and
the
I
stage.
finally
Now,
got to
you can
upload it
repeat
after like
stages
a
how often you
25
want.
hours.
Yes, you could do Walleye Warehouse 5 times in a row if you wanted to. However, you cannot repeat the game mode
I mean,
until you've
24
gone
hours.
through
It took me a
all
day to
4.
upload.
We see the semifinals matchups here: Starburst versus Ryu, and then Super P versus Cherry Limeade. And you know, it's really interesting here, Shiny. You look at the meta of Splatoon 2, and we had some conversations last week during the Event 1 finals. It's so fast-paced. What makes it so fast-paced? And
Oh,
what
I
do you have
do
to be
not
mindful
remember
of
that.
when the action is moving that quickly?
Well, the most
I do not
natural thing
remember
think
that
it comes
from
down to is,
number
of course,
1.
when weapons end up being meta. The first one that comes to mind is the Kensa 52 Gal. On the maps, especially that we're seeing in the semifinals, you look at ones like Walleye Warehouse, you look at Port Mackerel, they have these sort of thin, narrow corridors, and that works out great for splash walls. And also, they have decent range. Shooters also come naturally to a lot of players, so it's not too much of a far cry. And then if you play a longer range weapon, you still have lots of options. These maps, like Walleye Warehouse is another example that has a lot of open sightlines too. So if you play something like a Jet Squelcher, which, spoiler, we're probably going to see a lot of today, that can also have a lot of effect no matter which variant you're playing.
And last week, 9, what we looked at in Event 1 in those finals with 2 of our teams returning in Ryu and Cherry Limeade, getting off to a good start was really important because it felt like those teams that got knocked back on their back heel.
You need to
really
get a good
struggled to
start,
come
otherwise
back
you're gonna
and
like screw up and
gain
mess the
control
whole
of these games.
thing. and lose
you're never
whatever
going
you
to have an
got.
easier push than your first
Especially in
push
the
where you
Rainmaker
take
one.
off
That
the
one,
start. I think most people who are
you don't
watching
get a good
today
start,
know
you don't get a good
specials
team.
very, very
I don't know how
powerful. And when you get splatted and
Starburst
sit
pulled
back
off
to spawn,
that
you lose
victory.
about half of your special
looked
gear,
like,
maybe a little bit less
FT
depending on your gear. But at the start of the
FT
game,
Win had
you
a
don't
very
have
good-
a leader that's very close
had
to
a very
being
good,
full. So if 2 or 3 of your members go down,
very good,
it's that much more
like,
difficult for you to access those defensive
I
resources.
mean, they both had
and
good
oftentimes
starts.
that
It looked
very
like
first push
FT
is
Win,
enough
though, had a
to play
better
defense the
start.
rest of the way.
So I don't know
Shiny
how
getting set for our first
Starburst
game here.
pulled
The mode
it
will
off
be
last
Clam
time,
Blitz, and
but
when
they
you
did.
look at Clam Blitz, what really stands out to you as far as what you're seeing at these high levels of competition? What kind of strategies are these teams trying to implement? Because obviously you can go a couple of different directions in Clam Blitz, but what seems to kind of be the consistent method to get victories here when it gets to Clam Blitz?
Well, I would argue that almost more than any other mode, the individual play is that much more important. With modes like Rainmaker and Tower Control, you have a dedicated objective player. There's something similar to that where you have the Power Clam carrier, but that can change really easily just by throwing it. So really, the individual effort of not only finding where the clams are, but picking and choosing your battles very carefully. One splat in a mode like this can lead to an overwhelming tidal wave that allows the team that got the initial splat to get the first break of the barricade. And when that barricade breaks, you can get almost a near 100-0 push if you have enough clams at your disposal.
And Nine, you talk about this all the time. That initial push, the first time you get access to the basket, probably the most important time that you have in the entire game to score some points here.
Absolutely. After that, it comes down to clam control. There's clams all around in pods of 4, but at the very beginning, they're strewn about in a little bit more haphazard of a fashion here. So oftentimes you'll see teams build up a power clam very quickly at the start by picking those up as they go. And of course, when you score, after the basket closes, half of whatever you scored goes back to you as a penalty. So that's why it's all the more important to make that very first push your biggest.
As we get set for our first game to get rolling here for the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022 Event 2 Finals. Shiny, going back to the weapons that we're seeing, and there, of course, is that very popular drum and guitar riff as we get set for Clam Blitz on New Albacore Hotel. Let's check in with the action here. It's going to be our first 2 teams.
First match.
Center stage here.
I think it's Starburst and Ryu.
Hotel, just one of those maps, Shiny, where you have to be mindful about how you approach because there's a couple of areas with that mesh that'll slow you down as you try to get in and out of mid.
You know, I think this is where the anchor weapons, the long-range weapons really shine because you have these unequal
Which,
surfaces,
is
these
it
grates.
Seafoam
It
Shanty,
really
this
allows
song?
you
I
to
think
play
so.
safely, and you really need to have that
Just
person
listening
give
to
your team
Splatoon
the
music
open
makes me
beacon
feel
to the,
good. Always
middle
makes
part
me
of the
wanna
map,
feel
like they
like
will trying to
playing
get here. And I
Splatoon.
see a
It's
couple of weapons that we haven't really seen a lot of in the meta, like the 96 gal we were just spectating, and on the opposite side of things, that Bamboo
Fun
Mark 1
fact,
with the current
Ryu
buff and
actually
very
made it to the
popular
finals in the
tennis.
last showdown,
Look now
but
at
then
Jay,
lost to
as both teams have all
Jackpot.
4 members
Jackpot
on the
took it
map. Nobody
all
at this point has been
in
able
the
to get
last-
to the basket. You see Jay
in
with
the
9
last event.
clams.
If you don't know,
waiting for
actually,
one more
in the
here for that
comments,
power
I
clam.
actually
And really here
put
at
if
this
you don't
point,
want to
Nine,
watch
what are
the
you trying
full
to
thing, I
establish in
put
this
the
early
finals.
game where both
I'm gonna
teams
put
are
the
kind of out
finals
of control?
again in
Well,
this
you're trying to
comment
establish
video.
what Ryu did not just establish, which
If you
is
have
not
time to
going
watch,
2 or 3
oh,
down
Jay
at one
dead.
time here. You saw that really for the first minute of the game. It was a pretty neutral stalemate in the center.
Oh,
They were both
they
playing
broke
very
their
defensive, but as Starburst
barrier.
often does, they found a pick off on the side of the map. They used their ink armor to
Ryu
push
in
through. You can
danger.
see already down to 50. This is a great opening push, as it does look like their initial attack has been foiled.
As you pointed out, Ryu able to knock out a couple of members.
Barrier's
of
back.
Starburst. That'll
Barrier's back.
reset
Ryu's got the
basket.
barrier.
50 points scored on that opening push, but already, here we go, Shiny. 4-2 advantage for Starburst.
And you mentioned some of the differences that are in this mode compared to others. There was a 2-down situation, but Ryu only had 5 clams at their disposal, and they're still sitting on 5 clams. The ability of Starburst to get back into the action that quickly really speaks to how formulated they are as a team and how confident they feel. I also want to point out, too, both teams are bringing in a weapon called the Foil Squeezer, which has the Bubble Blower as its special, which allows you to get close to that power clam, and I can see Ryu is popping it now.
Oh, and Ice just put him on ice. How about that shot there, Nine? As you talk about being able to apply some pressure from a backline position can pay huge
I want to see a
dividends for your
splat
team.
over
I
here.
mean, talk about the respect they gave Ice. 2 people who were armored up had an opportunity to push Ice back. Ice threw a burst bomb to break both of their ink armors. They immediately walked
Oh,
the other way,
there's a
and Ice
splat.
didn't get a pick, but how about this now? Ricky coming the other way to at least thrust aside the pain that comes with that stingray.
I'm
as we have a big
literally
sprint
reacting
in the middle.
to
Yeah,
all
Ice being melted
Splatoon.
by
It's
Ricky. You see Jay
insane.
with the power clam gets a little bit of help from the splash wall, trying to avoid a couple of burst bombs coming through there. Armor unable to come up just
Oh
in time.
my,
Unfortunately, they're
holy
shining
crap.
as Starburst Starburst stuffing that potential push.
Dude,
Man, you look
that's
at the mobility of a weapon like
insane.
the Splattershot Junior, and when they died, they were 99% of the way there when they were splatted to that ink armor. So taking out such a critical special is going to be
Ryu
such a
looked
big
like
play.
he in
It is
danger,
great
bro.
mobility, so
He
it's great for
doing
power
too
play
good.
carrying, as we see a couple of
I
quick
mean, the
moves here from
finals
Starburst
last
that
game,
nail
he
out for
ain't
the
doing
next
too
push.
good this game.
And you saw Bagel splat one, get one free
Oh,
as they go
Starburst
ahead
broke
and
their
bust
barrier.
open the basket
But
once
Ryu in
again, adding
danger.
to their lead. Under 2 minutes left. You see them at 37 to 100. Just a dominant performance so far here. And all Ryu's going to have to do here, Nine, is try and stuff this, but they will really have to turn things around if they want to get back into this game.
I mean, this has absolutely been a brutal
All right,
sequence
their
of
barrier's
events. That
back.
you saw both Ice and Bagel get really long-range splats at the very edge of their weapons. Then as they were scoring, Brand came around on the backside and got 2 with the flank there. All the while, Biscuit sitting in mid to make sure that no real counter push could be had. And all of this going on as they were scoring, melting even more time off the clock. Starburst is firing on all cylinders today.
Jay with the power clam, obviously time not in favor for Ryu. Jay just trying to approach, but that mesh bridge, as we mentioned just there, Shiny, it really makes you think about how you can approach with the power clam. It's very difficult to just get in there quickly.
And we've seen a couple of times the power of the Tana missiles of not only giving some damage if you're able to hit a player, but also locating where the members of the other team are. With such a split-off map like this, where you could be hiding in any little nook and cranny, that's such a big asset to gain as we see Ryu trying to make use of it here. Ryu doesn't have very many clams at their disposal, though not even one power clam.
Yeah, their
so
clam
far as
wins
they lose
is
another player.
yeah.
45 seconds left.
45 seconds left. Ryu needs to make a big play over here for them to overtake Starburst and take the
thanks to the
first
early
win.
lead that Starburst has built in. Biscuit just doing a fine job here, Nine, of staying alive,
Biscuit's
applying that pressure,
Biscuit's
and just
rocking
making
this,
sure that
though.
Starburst is not outnumbered here in the final 30 seconds.
I mean, a tail of the tape right back there. That last 30 seconds should tell you everything you need to know about this game. They finally had 2
Ice
members
up.
of Starburst down, which
Ice
is a
up
monumental
splat.
task. And Biscuit single-handedly
And now,
was able to hold the center of the
Ryu
map.
in
There
danger
was no
with
counter
15
push, and
seconds
Zach
left.
ended up playing
That
the game
is
right
pretty
here.
much game.
Yeah, unabashedly pushing
Starburst
forward,
took
not
the
content with taking the
W.
lead. They wanted to be sure that they could take the entire knockout, not even really wanting to wait for that clock to expire.
That was
And
a
that's exactly the kind
KO.
of tenacity and push that you want to make if you're a team like Starburst to really make a statement here in these semifinals.
And really indicative of what they can do.
That
You
was
see
a
just
KO,
solid numbers across the board,
baby.
11, 9, 8, 8.
Their barrier broke.
Really nice. This is what you
Ryu's
see from a
barrier
team the
broke.
caliber of Starburst.
Really
they
insane,
can win a lot
guys.
of one-on-one here situations.
Now
but also
Starburst
just their
has to
aim
win.
and the ability to
It
apply
is-
pressure from all 4 team members makes it
It
very
is
difficult.
1-0. Or are we going by 3 or
Yeah,
1?
they're so good at it, and to be able to have
We're going
the
by 1, I
versatility to
think.
bring out a
It is
composition
1-0
like that. We have
Starburst
a
so
long list
far.
of weapons that Bagel played here, and none of them were the 96 gal. So that should tell you that when they go to a map like New Albacore Hotel, where you do need a little bit of range here, they can switch over to a comp and fits that. And Zach said earlier, these players have as many hours in the game as anybody that you will find. That's where that versatility comes from, and that's why that was such a dominant game from start to finish.
So obviously first game going to Starburst, and we will update the bracket here in just a moment to show you. But now it's an opportunity to go to a different game mode. And if you are Ryu, what do you take away from that very first game there, Shiny? Because you get a chance to learn a little bit about your opponent and how they play. But if you're Ryu, where
I
does
gotta
the
go to the
adjustment come
bathroom,
from?
guys.
You know, I think
So I'll be
the
back.
first obvious thing for them is that this team is the
I'm
real
pretty sure
deal,
I'll
that
be
they
done
are
by, like,
everything that has
when
been
they're
said
done
about them
chatting
and how difficult it is
about
to
the
go up
last
against
game.
them. And even when you get an inch, it's difficult to retain what ground you've gained. So I think in terms of picking up another game mode, obviously Splat Zones is going to be a nice one to go into if you want to really make use of something like the Ink Armor. Maybe you could stick on the Splattershot Junior, go with the NZAP 85 that has really strong painting. Or if you feel that you're much more of an objective-based team that likes to play together, Rainmaker or Tower Control might be for you, for the ability to stick together and to work together more as a team, rather than in Clan Blitz where you're all kind of scrambling around trying to play the objective individually.
Yeah, it will be fascinating to see which game mode they go with, and then of course the counter pick of the stage will go to Starburst, and so it will be Tower Control and Muscle Forge Fitness. Where 9, I think you just got done getting a quick climbing set in there earlier today, and you look at this mapping mode here, 9, and what are you trying to keep in mind when you get a chance to ride that tower amongst all the barbells and rock walls here?
Yeah, this is a fascinating pick because there's a lot of history on this map and mode, particularly with some of the members of Starburst here. We see this map go to a knockout as much as we see it on any other map, and it's because after you get past that second checkpoint, you have natural protection from the stage. You go through the gulch in that lower area. That is almost a free push all the way to that third checkpoint, and it's really only a hop, skip, and a jump from that third checkpoint. So my advice, don't let it get that far. Find a way, even if you have to play slow at the start, don't allow yourself to go more than 2 down. Of course, that's much easier said than done against a team of this caliber.
Yeah, I was going to thank you. Well said, Coach. I appreciate that. Shiny, you look at mid in this particular map, and it's hard to quickly go in there and dominate mid. And there's so many different ways that you can approach it. How will these teams look to try and control that early on to give themselves that early advantage?
Well, what used to be so popular is weapons like the Nautilus 79, where you have a splatling that can stay back and still have be effective from that range behind where those walkways are that you can't ink. But there's also, for your shorter range players, your slayers, there's almost a moat sort of going around the middle of the map. And so that's where they're primarily going to be living. Now, do they take the opportunity to flank around? Do they try and get behind the enemy team that might be too hyper-focused on mid? Or do they just run straight through either one of the side alleyways or straight into mid and try to establish ground that way? We saw the Bamboozler coming out from Ryu. If they elect to take it this time, that might be their tower carrier. And that could be a great way to get some picks without having to necessarily be standing in mid.
Yeah, it feels like staying alive is so important on this map, as you mentioned. Don't try to go 2 down, because getting knocked back to spawn, especially 9, when they get past that second checkpoint, you were just giving them some easy points to accumulate. So we'll see if they can follow the sage advice of 1-9 and be able to make sure they don't go down 2-0 at any point. So here it is, Starburst trying to build a 2-0 advantage. Both teams scrambling towards mid, and it seems like Biscuit going to meet a couple of members of Ryu early on here, 9.
Absolutely, and I'm just looking at the top of the screen right now. When is Ice's Stingray going to come out? So famous for starting off maps, getting picks here. It looks like Starburst was willing to play that start a little bit slower here, and that's going to allow Ricky to get a great positioning, but not able to find enough shots. The armor was there, yes, but you have to imagine that there was some meat left on the bone. Ice follows up, and look at that, Jordan, already 4-0 down in favor of Starburst.
To your point, that Stingray, Ricky unable to do much, getting outnumbered, and that was a critical splat that leads the way, and they are already making their way to the first checkpoint here, Shiny, and it seems like they are well positioned to fortify their hold here.
You know, the changes that we
See what
made,
I
we
missed
went to
from
one of
this?
my favorite personal weapons, the Tri-Slash
Oh,
in
shoot,
a
they
row,
were
which
going.
has the ink storm,
Oh, I
which
think they
gives you
just
some
started.
in coverage. But if you're not able to
Okay,
get
what
into
map
it and
is
really
this,
build
though?
up that special, it's not doing too much for you. As we see checkpoint 2 get passed already, 2 members down on the side
Ryu
of
in
Ryu,
danger.
and only the K-52 is going to fall here. They have the missiles that will at least delay the tower, but getting to that checkpoint
Oh,
and
this is
passing
the
it really
tower.
helps to make sure
Okay.
that you don't have to regain that ground
Oh,
again
they
when
took
you
the
make your next push.
tower.
First time the tower has hit the stop sign for Starburst, and they'll get sent back to neutral.
Oh, they lost the tower. Okay,
So
Ryu
9,
might
that
have
was
a chance
critical
in
because
this
they're able
game.
to prevent Starburst from getting to that third checkpoint. Now it's a matter of taking over
He took the
majority of
tower.
turf on the map at this point.
Yeah, and because they got them all so quick, there was no danger of a stagger. Staggering a spawn can be nice in the sense that it takes your opponent longer to defend, but it also means that sometimes one of them can sneak back to mid and at least make your move back a little bit more difficult. This time, great job. They used their specials early here. Bagel's the only one
Starburst
around
in
the tower for the
danger.
time being. I would expect
Oh,
this first
never
checkpoint to
mind.
fall without too much resistance.
Ryu at
Storm
checkpoint
obviously
1.
helping them out here as they
I
try to make
repeat,
their way to the
Ryu
first
at
checkpoint with
checkpoint
the
1.
Stingray putting the brakes on this initial push. 4-2 for Starburst. How about the defensive?
They lost the
effort
tower.
we just saw there, Shiny?
For both teams, you'll
Ooh,
notice that
that's
neither of
fly
them is
messed
popping
up.
one special at a time. They're going 2 on, 2 off, and then the next 2 have their special.
Oh
2
my
on,
God,
2 off,
this
and then
is
it switches over
actually-
to Starburst, and Starburst
This is
uses
probably
the
our
the
closest
Stingray there
Splatoon 2
and the
Inkopolis
missiles to get them
yet.
off the tower. So both of these teams really have a great idea that one special is not going to be enough in
This
this
is
type of
definitely the
situation.
closest game
Ice
yet.
busting out the Stingray once
But
more.
Ice
Gets the
busting
splat
out
on
that
Jay. That'll give
Stingray.
a slight numbers advantage at the moment for Starburst, but it now evens out. But at this point, 9, you've got such a sizable lead. You can really pick and choose the way that you want to play. As Ice
They
just
lost the
continues
tower.
to just have this
Whatever
onslaught
team is
right
going to
now
be in
against
danger,
Ryu, really
that's the one
dominating
that's
the game here,
losing.
Nine.
Because this is...
Nothing that Ice is
Oh, a
capable of surprises
splat.
you because you've seen it so many times. But just the ease at which he is able to do it is always what's most impressive there. He gets the pick with the Stingray, rotates around, gets around 2 people who were attacking here, and even though they were at a numbers disadvantage, because they were able to hold this side of the map, you saw them get a little mini push there to at least slow the momentum that Ryu had started to build up.
Ricky trying to chase a few members of Starburst, trying to get them scattered as Ryu has control of the tower, trying to get past their first
They have
checkpoint.
control, but
Just
will
under a
they
minute
lose that
45, so
control?
still plenty of time, but Shiny, at this point, Ryu, you're not going to get too many opportunities, and just
Oh,
like
I said
the
Stingray.
coming out.
Oh my god.
Again, the specials being so influential.
Oh, Ryu has the tower.
Is one of the most common flanking
Ryu at
methods on
checkpoint
this map
one,
and trying to get up onto
and
that
Starburst in
ramp area for a place right by
danger.
spawn. And it did well enough for distracting them to where Ryu was able to get on the tower, outlast those couple of specials, and now they have a couple of their own built up. They're about to have armor as well, which they can pop. The missiles are helping them force the members of Starburst back, and because of that, they just cleared their second checkpoint.
Some impressive accuracy from some of those suction bombs, but not enough to stall Ryu. Here's a chance. They can threaten the lead here.
Not
Ryu
danger.
just 1 point away from tying, but how about the stop right there? 9 by Starburst, almost yielding the lead.
You love it when you see the
Yo,
great teams get
now
desperate
it's
because
closer.
sometimes
That
all
stop
the
that
planning, all the
Starburst just
strategy in
made
the world doesn't
was
work, and you
insane.
think, just attack. We'll figure it out once we get there.
I think so
Everything
far,
that
though,
Ryu did right there was exactly
Ryu,
by
I
the
think,
book.
had
You
the
saw
lead
on
by
the
a little
left
bit,
side of the
but
map,
this
they
is
had their bamboozler
definitely our
enough
closest
range to
Splatoon
pick
2
away at the members of Starburst as they
Inkopolis.
were coming out. Because of that, Ice
Why
did
do I
not
say
have
it's
enough room to
Splatoon?
build up that
It's
stingray,
Splatoon.
and that's a big reason why you saw
It's
that
just
big push come
Splatoon,
oh so
not
close.
Splatoon.
A potentially game-saving stop. Ryu knocking on the door, couldn't turn the handle, and now they are in deep,
This is definitely
deep
the
trouble.
closest
4-2
Splatoon
lead for
2
Starburst.
Inkopolis
17 seconds left. They want to put
showdown
this thing
yet.
away here, and this is what you see from the great teams here, Shiny. When their backs are up against the wall, they can make those plays that are the difference between winning and losing as this clock starts to wind down.
Oh, Ryu lost the tower. Ryu lost the tower. Will they take the tower? No, they will not. And I think, oh, I think Starburst took this W.
Already 2 down. The last
Yes,
was
they
trying to jump in,
did
but
by
to no avail.
1.
And Starburst a lot closer of a call, but they hold their own in game 2.
They
So
hold
Starburst
it back
after in a
by
very
1 flat
Impressive
count.
initial push here.
Starburst
They
took
were
the
able to finally
W.
get the stop here against Ryu, and this is what we see sometimes.
That
in these
was
games,
definitely
it comes down
one of
to
their
one
closest
moment like
games
that.
yet. Wasn't
5
one of the
seconds of
intense
gameplay. How
games.
are you
The
gonna
intense
handle
game
all
was
these
when
individual
Ryu won
matchups,
in
all these
Splatoon 2
decisions that you have
Inkopolis
to make, and
event.
it's Starburst that's
Part
able
1.
to just finally go in there and get the splats when you need
Starburst
to.
now up 2
Yeah,
to
it's unbelievable.
nothing.
You could take that last moment there where they
If
stopped
Starburst
it, put
wins
that
the
up,
next
and make
game,
a 2-hour
they are
stream,
in
just
the
trying to analyze
finals.
what could have been done differently there, or how they were
If
able to
Starburst
defend.
loses the next
But
game,
that's what
Ryu
makes
still
these
has a
games so
chance
good.
for
We
this
talk
best
about
of 5.
composure all the
First to
time,
win
but
3.
There's so many things, so many pieces of information that these players are able to take in, to be cognizant of, and to
Hold
be
on,
able to
wait.
execute
I
properly
actually
on
have
it.
an
Even
idea.
after
I don't
the
know if this is a
fact,
good
they might not be able
idea.
to tell you exactly what they did, but they know they got the W, and that's what
So
matters.
hold on.
And Shiny, it really felt like Ice was the key member for Starburst that game. Really, the only time that Ryu was able to get a push was when Ice
Yeah, I
was
don't know
down.
how to
That's when
do
they made it
this.
through their first 2 checkpoints, and you really look at the importance of someone that can play such a pivotal role as a backliner, especially in tower control like that.
It's no wonder why they call it the anchor role. It really is the anchor of your team. It is the ability for you to have an effect while using your optimal range.
No,
And I
not it.
mentioned at the beginning of this map, going into it, you know, a lot of Jet Squelchers might be content to just
Okay,
sit
I don't
back
know.
behind that graded area, just fire into the mid. Not Ice. Ice was down in there with the closest
Oh,
of the
wait.
ranges there and winning what were either 1v1s or 1v2s in a lot of cases.
So we have splat zones on Sturgeon Shipyard coming up here 9, and this is a map that a lot of people really enjoy getting a chance to go toe-to-toe on, or should I say tentacle-to-tentacle on. But looking at splat zones here, what really stands out to you as far as what teams are going to need to do to get that dub?
Yeah, this is a really interesting map, and one of the reasons why people like it is there's so many avenues not only to come back into mid, but once you've created a lockout scenario, you can
Okay,
push really
accidentally
far
shut
forward
the
and
camera,
not let the opponent build up
so I
their
can't see what it
specials.
is.
One of the things that we see oftentimes in splat zones is teams will get the zone, they'll hang out maybe a little bit in front of
Yeah,
it.
I think
but
that
they
should be
won't
good now.
confident enough to push forward. The other team builds up their specials. They use 4 specials. The zone flips. We rinse and repeat. You're not going to see that with this team. They're going to understand exactly how far they can push up, put pressure on the opponent,
There.
and not be passive.
And in a situation like that, one of these teams here, Shiny, I would bet a lot on it here, is going to find themselves not having the zone at one point. How do you then flip it on this map? What do you need to do to get back into this game?
Well, you know, this map has a lot more, you know, height differential, I would say. than a lot of other maps in the game. And so it helps you to be able, if you are a longer range weapon, maybe you use that and rely on that player to help you get back in. There are also, weapons that they could pick, things with Squid Beacon that they could use. If they're having a problem getting in, use your sub, but that way it's
Splat zones?
even when you're not in the midst of a fight.
Starburst just one game away from moving on to finals. They will make it a clean sweep if they can get this one. Ryu. They came oh so close in game 2. Let's see if they can turn the tide this time around.
Ryu was
already, it's Ricky and Nick
insanely
to the
close.
middle here. Jay's trying to provide a little bit of support. You see that burst bomb and that splat bomb being thrown out. Jay at this point trying to get away from those Tenta missiles, and already an early zone. Nice start for Ryu here, 9.
Yeah, they held it, but as we so often see with Starburst, they're willing to give up the early zone to maintain true control. And there is a difference, folks, as you can see right now. No members of Ryu really near the zone. But interestingly enough, Starburst has gone with that Neo Splash-O-Matic, which has the ever-powerful suction bomb rush here. If it does come down to a big zone battle at the end, you have to think they're going to be able to outscale them in terms of raw ink.
Starburst up 2-0.
Reclaims the zone, currently down by about 13, and it seems like now Kiwi and crew here, Shiny, well positioned to start to advance the troops and really put Starburst on their heels.
Yeah, Kiwi has really stuck with
Ryu
this
took the
game.
lead.
The curling bomb is able to get you through, again, what are pretty narrow hallways, even if you don't have ink through the area. Now he's doing
actually,
a
I
great
don't
job
think
of
we
holding
need
the
this
zone.
kid. That
You
was
can see how the zone is a little bit raised through the bridge structure. And
that was a waste of
not
time,
only
but
the
whatever.
range, but gives you great visibility when you're about to pop the Tenta missiles like we just
So
saw
far,
there.
Starburst in
Really
danger.
interesting for Kiwi. The zone
So
was
far,
starting to put
the
some yellow, but
zone
Kiwi continued to just stick to what they were supposed to do. Apply pressure and let
Ice
the teammates
busting
fill the
out that
zone. You love it when
Stingray.
teams understand
That's
their roles
that's
like
a
that.
classic old.
They do, and
Never
the entire
get
talking
that
point I was
memory
about
done.
to make about Ice having 2 rays and 0 splats and
Never
assists
get that
is no
memory
longer
out of my
true.
head.
It's so rare that Ice fires 2 Stingrays and isn't able to get anything meaningful off of it. And hey, lo and behold, Ice finds 2 people with the ray.
We're
and now
never gonna get that
they're
memory out of our
in
head when we're
control.
reacting
So
to
great adaptation
Splatoon
by
2
Ryu to be able to
Inkopolis.
survive that onslaught, but now they're going to have to prove that they can come back in as well.
And
We
that's
still
the key
have
point.
2 more to
Ryu does
react
have a
to.
sizable lead, but it was
So we
Starburst led
reacted.
by Ice
I don't know if
that
you guys
all of a
could
sudden
see it. We
flipped the
reacted to
momentum
this
in
one.
game, and it's Starburst
We just need to
with a
react to
4-2
these 2.
advantage. However, they lose control. That'll buy
Those
a
are
few
the
precious
2
seconds
longest,
for
I
Shiny
think.
for Ryu. But now Ryu trying to get back here into the middle of mid, and right now we see them trying to approach Shiny with some of that verticality you mentioned.
I'll use my few precious seconds to talk about what Starburst can do to maintain this. I was going to mention the Neo Splash-O-Matic and how impactful that suction bomb launcher can be, but they've just lost that. The closest thing they have to a special is the
Oh my God, Ryu's in danger. Starburst just took the lead. This is insane. Oh, and that's game, boys. Starburst up to the finals with the KO bonus.
Able to hold out that much longer and get that third and final KO.
That was a
And
third
I'm gonna go back
and
to Ice, and that's
final
Stingray
win for
picking up the 2
Starburst.
splats when
They
Ryu
are
was
moving on to
really
the
chunking into
finals.
that lead, and that
Ryu
to me was the
is
turning point
kicked
in this game.
out
The
of
key
here.
reason why
That was a
Starburst
KO bonus.
Swept Ryu was the play of Ice as
They
the anchor
swept
at a pivotal
Ryu.
moment in this game. Does what
Guys.
they need to do, and then Starburst just takes off.
So at the
after
top,
Yeah, it's a broken record. Every time you see a championship, it seems like Ice is always there.
Star.
Sometimes first, sometimes second, but
Star.
omnipresent. And whenever you see 2 people go down to 1 special like that, it really changes the momentum of the game entirely, because now it's at least 3v2 in the middle, sometimes 4v2
Starburst
depending on where
at
it is. They got the full lockout. And you saw they were
finals.
able to rotate their shooters around and make it so difficult for you to guess where the defense was coming from. And at that point, all it takes is 1 slip up, and you find your entire
Insane,
team
guys.
gone and
I'm
you
gonna
get
go.
knocked out.
Okay,
Well, let's go ahead
I'm
and
gonna be
check out
AFK
the
for a moment
updated
because
bracket
I'm gonna
here
start
as
creating the
Starburst grabs the
thumbnail.
broom and
Oh,
sweeps
they're
their way
starting a
to
new game.
finals 3-0 over
I think
Ryu.
they
And
are.
really the highlight of that match is how
Starburst
close
at
Ryu was in
finals.
power control at taking a game, but it'll be Starburst awaiting the winner of Super P and Cherry Limeade. And before we get to that, we're going to take a quick little break. But before we take that pause in action, we would like to let you know that Play Versus is
I'm gonna be
Nintendo's
back after
official
this break
scholastic
because
partner for Super
I need to
Smash
create
Bros.
a
Ultimate,
thumbnail.
Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where thousands of high school players will compete weekly for a championship title, and players can now earn a varsity letter by gaming with their friends. You can sign up now to learn more about the fall season at www.playversus.com. Spread the word at your school and prepare to play in the fall season for 2023. Again, that's www.playversus.com. All right, we'll get to the other half of the bracket here in the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022, event number 2, and find out who will face off against Starburst in the finals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
In this house, we duel.
Nice trick.
Here we go.
In their house, we duel. In our house, we score. We love teaming up. And we love a little competition.
Oh, it's okay. You got it next time. You got it next time.
Ready? Whether it's with family, friends, or rivals near and far.
This is the end. What?
So whichever sport you choose, victory could be just within reach. You ready to play? Nintendo Switch Sports. Available now only on Nintendo Switch.
Brave warriors of Adrestia, the time has come to demonstrate the Empire's valor.
We strike at the Imperial Army today.
The party's already starting, huh? We have to figure out exactly where we stand in this war. Who knew the Ashen Demon had that kind of strength? I can't believe one fighter could turn the tide of an entire battle like that.
We'll claim victory over that monster together.
I have to keep fighting.
Dying is without productivity. Have you ever read any chivalric romance? I think they're a fascinating group of people myself, but what do you make of them?
Let's wake up. Are you ready? Do try to keep up. Back at you. The best way to honor my fallen comrades is by training hard and growing even stronger. Where do these powers come from?
Power itself is neutral. The good or evil comes from the one who wields it.
One day that sword might overtake me.
Take
and I'll
back.
turn into a monster.
Not so fast, you two.
What is this? Fire Emblem? What is this? Monster Hunter's Rise? What is this?
Defeating the Ashen Demon. Everything starts from there. My dear partner in destiny. Like it's something we're meant to do.
I'll let my sword do the talking when I cut the Ashen Demon down.
Oh, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. There's a new Fire Emblem. There's a new Fire Emblem game coming out.
Whether it's to play your favorite game, to play for school pride, or for the thrill of competition. Play competitively with Play Versus. Visit playvs.com today for more information.
Stay tuned. You know what? I'm just gonna skip.
And as we take a look at the rules for semifinals once again to refresh things, it's going to be best of 5, and the team with the lower seed will choose the mode for the first game. After that, the losing team will choose the mode. You can repeat maps and repeat stages, which is important. As far as the game
All
modes,
right, well
though,
now
you have to make sure you go through all 4 game modes before you go through one once again. So, getting set here, Shiny, we're going to have Splat Zone, Sturgeon Shipyards. We just got done seeing Starburst and Ryu do that, and it really feels like once you claim the zone, if you can advance your team beyond the zone and really try to stuff some of the special building abilities of your opponent, that's the key to victory here.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see a little taster of it already, but Splat Zones on this map is, you know, pretty tight because you're on one zone right in the middle of the map.
Right there, Super P versus Cherry Limeade.
You have the moving bridge, you have the boxes on the side, you even have walls to climb up to give you that vantage point. So even mid-range weapons can almost act like an anchor on this map. So you really have to be conscientious of where you're swimming, especially if you're playing something like an NZAP, Splattershot Jr., or something with a tighter bit of range, like even the Kensa Splattershot, which we may see in this next set.
And Nine, we talked a little defense prior to the last Splat Zone.
I think I'm going to be AFK one more time after this. I think before the finals.
To apply that pressure.
So I'm not going to be AFK for the second round. So I'm probably going to watch all the second round.
Build up those specials that can help overtake the lead.
Yeah, I'd say the big thing is disguise your defense. We really saw a great execution of it, if you will, in that last match where you saw Bagel and Bran rotating as they were attacking, sitting below the opponent's drop, and then all the while, the real threat was Biscuit, who was waiting on the right side, totally unseen. So when you finally think that you've gotten clear of the attack, you actually haven't. Their defense is successful, and the points come flying off the board.
Bran, Bagel, and Biscuit starting to get hungry here, Shiny. And as we take a look at what we're going to see here from Super P and Cherry Limeade, it really feels like the initial push, while yes, it's important, it's really about the team here, Shiny. Correct me if I'm wrong. That can establish control of not just the zone, but the map at the same time.
Bro,
oh my god. I'm really happy. There are some weapons that I was looking forward to seeing. Leo Fotia on that Rapid Blaster Pro Deco. Sort of a longer range alternative to an ink armor farming weapon. Something that can be great at doing chip or poke damage. And on the opposite side of things, the base as well as the Hero Blaster.
So
we're going to be seeing a good amount of chip damage plus a Fire Fin Splatter Scope, which is one of the rare splatter scopes that can have a
they in control. Cherry Limeade already in danger.
All of Sheldon's inventory on display here in this game, and 9 already. Super P claiming the first zone. They've got 4-3 on the map, and that ink armor is going to help them.
Cherry Limeade, they're not that bad of a team. They're not good.
What are you going to see from Voice?
I think in the last round, I think they got off. It's gotta be Super P. They're in danger.
Slightly with the range of this splatter scope. You can see firing immediately at the spinner to try to build some room. However, they don't have the best specials for pushing in. They're going to try to create some space with this
Shiny.
But you can see
Shiny.
Time ticks away.
Shiny.
That's huge, 9, because you mentioned that suction bomb rush is a really powerful tool to reclaim the zone. But Shiny, I'm going to flip it to you here. You don't get a chance to approach close enough with that.
No, you don't at all, actually.
Now you've wasted a critical special, and it's just 10 seconds away from taking the L.
Talk about how to shut down a charger. You put the toxic mist on them, you fire the
and that's already game.
A quick 100 to 0 drop.
100 to 0 drop. A KO bonus all day long.
Nearly match the range of one of
that was insane.
Or even just a 25 damage a pop, and really prevent you from doing anything too special, as we see Leo Fotia top the leaderboard there.
Yeah, really impressive performance by Super P. And 9, you saw, even though we were looking at Shiny on the back end, trying to get back into the zone, how you
that was insane. Super P is up 1.
Not just understanding your own weapon, right? But understanding the opponent's weapon and how they operate. That, to me, seemed like a textbook definition of knowing your opponent.
Yeah, and Cherry Limeade is such a difficult team to plan for because they have so many different weapons that they always go to. You said it, all of Sheldon's arsenal is available for these teams to pick, but they really understood that the Brella, that's a weapon that you want 2 or 3 of your opponents firing on so you can rotate the other members of your team over and get some picks there. But because of the range that Super P had on their weapons, they never even needed to do that. They didn't need to go up and attack anybody to get in a position where that was even a possibility. And again, like you said there, Zach, as soon as they got them back, they had too much range and really, really stuffed that push before it could get started.
Yeah, you don't really see the miss too often here, Shiny, but the fact that it was utilized to, as you pointed out, stop the anchor, someone that's got the type of range to
Okay,
possibly apply
so,
some pressure on the zone.
I'm gonna be still
that was
here.
really masterful and one of the key
I'm gonna be
strategic
like
moves for
not
Super
sitting
P.
down. I'm gonna
And
be
you look
around
at the
the room
fact
I
that
am
they're
in.
able to do that
I just
while
feel like I wanna
maintaining
walk
control of the zone. They
around.
didn't lose it once, and to me, that's one of the most impressive things you can do in splat zones.
Well, if you're on the flip side of things for Cherry Limeade, you really have to start to think about what can we do to counter this pretty aggressive, but also pretty decently ranged composition. And we talked about how many weapons Cherry Limeade has at their disposal. We could see something like the Glugadoolies or a variant of the Glugadoolies, like the Deco, come out to have a little bit better mobility if you think toxicity is going to be a problem. That sort of propels you in the direction that you choose and allows you to get out of that debilitating
They're just very bad
on the opposite side of things. If Shiny Boy doesn't feel like the charger was optimal enough, maybe you go for a different style of anchor weapon. Slosher is another thing that they've been known to play, which can also provide that chip damage at an even longer range.
Splatoon 2 is
So
down.
now we're getting set for tower control here, and if you are Cherry Limeade, you get a chance to maybe re-rack things. That wasn't exactly how you wanted the first game to go here, but how do you bounce back? Tower control, what are some strategies if you're Cherry Limeade you can apply to maybe turn the tide this time around?
Yeah, if you're going with tower control, you're banking on the fact that you can swarm your opponent.
Yeah, these guys, Cherry Limeade ain't that good on tower control.
And you think, okay, now we're going to go with maybe our Glugadoolies here. We're going to try to...
But now you're getting ready for game 2 of round number 2 in the semifinals before the 2 battles in the finals. Super P up 1-0, guys.
Now, I heard you both say Glugadoolies. Look at what we get a chance
So
to see.
you can see that right there.
You love to see it.
So I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that out of here.
Now it's a chance for Cherry Limeade and a little bit of a different comp here. Take us through this year.
Once the game is done, I'm gonna set up a new one.
Sort of the best of both worlds, I think. You see a not very oft-used weapon there in the Kenso Luna Blaster. That's going to give you that Ink Storm, which again provides that passive amount of map control, which is great for a one-zone map like this, or a one-power map like this, I should say. And you also have that extreme range of the custom E-Liter 4K.
They took the tower. It's 99 now, 97.
From those short-range Slayers.
So here it is, Super P grabbing the tower initially, trying to get
Super
to the first
P grabbed the tower. They have 79 left. Still 100 left for Cherry Limeade. Cherry Limeade definitely needs a tower over here.
Yeah, they got set up
And they got it.
They have a lot of lethal
Cherry
bombs on
Limeade
their
with the
side.
tower.
They're going to be able to do a great job of making it that much
They
more
need to
difficult.
drop down. They took in the lead now.
And Shiny Boy is in a great spot right here to make sure that
Look at Shiny. Yeah. Oh my God, Shiny.
in a great position too. If the Sync Armor finds its target, and
They're past the checkpoint, halfway dead.
To extend this further, but this is the best Cherry Limeade has looked.
Cherry Limeade bubbling their way to the final checkpoint. You see the splat going down there, and Shiny just holding down that anchor position. And
Super P lost the tower. Super P lost the tower.
To do here to dictate really the pacing and movement of Super P. You see the pressure here, Shiny. There you go. There's your boy picking up another one.
Look at Shine, bro. This is insane.
You saw him gonna pick and then immediately jump back to a safe position. That's one of the benefits that the custom variant of this weapon provides. Is the squid beacon.
Shiny took the tower. They now have the tower. There are 41 left.
Or even your Glugas, they can get back into the fight much
41 left.
and less visibly than somebody who has to
now
back to their
Super
teammate.
P lost the tower. It's respawning back in the middle.
One game apiece here in the semifinals.
And now Super P.
On the tower,
Cherry Limeade has a tower.
On the map, but 2 splats coming in here from Lily 9.
Absolutely needed to have those there. That had to have been somebody jumping back.
Splats happened.
The only reason that you would see 2 people that close to be taken
40, 37, 36, 35, 44, 32 remaining.
These bubbles are going to provide great protection on the tower if that third one comes out.
Cherry Limeade at checkpoint 2. They have 28 remaining.
Just enough time to pivot over to the left side.
They lost the tower. They lost the tower. Cherry Limeade 28 remaining. Super P 79. Cherry Limeade has a steady lead for now.
A few specials of their own, the bubbles, the Ink Storm that's going to slow down their approach. And now Cherry Limeade here, Shiny. They've been on the offensive the majority of this game. Looks like they're going to have to be ready to put their fingers in the dirt here and get set.
Super P has a tower.
They're already doing this. They've got a flanker out there. It was going to be Pika, but Pika goes down. His boys playing very, very well.
Oh, splattered on the tower by by
one final kill
Shiny.
there before going down. Shiny
Wow, that
using
was
some of those walls there to
insane.
use some right
Cherry
peeking
Lime
to
made
get
that
an
danger
advantage
though.
there. But
They
what
have
you
the
can
tower,
see on
they're
the
doing
tower
something pretty
is that as
good.
long as somebody is on or around it, they're able to continue that push just by jumping back to it. Plus, they have those great splash walls of the K52 that gives them some extra protection.
And here is
Wow.
Super P trying to threaten the lead, and
They're
Super
checkpoint
P is
2.
taking the lead.
They
with
taking
just
the
90
lead.
seconds left, pushing through that final checkpoint.
And now they're
They want
pushed
it
through
all
the
though.
final
They want to get the
checkpoint.
knockout.
5 left, and that
on
is
the field, and
game
here it
Super
is, a
P
haymaker
with
coming
victory
in the
number
final
2
minute 30
at the
for Super P,
KO
and that'll give them
bonus.
the win and a 2-0 advantage. 9, what did
2-0
you see for
advantage
Super
for
P
Super
down
P.
the stretch, as it feels like they really just were able to put together a masterful push.
They were, and at the very end, when it looks
Could
like
just
that,
be
when the
another
tower didn't really
wipeout.
have anything going
Could just
at
be
it,
another
it just
wipeout
shows you
at
again why
the
things like the
semifinals
Stingray
again.
missiles that were not
Who
in the
will win?
arsenal of Cherry
I am
Lime,
thinking,
how strong that
wow,
those are. You
Starburst,
can move
Super
back and
P,
you can be able to find a way
combined,
to
that's
take
gonna
somebody
be
or
an
install the tower.
insane final.
Instead,
It's
the
gonna
only
be so
options they
good.
had were to try to get close to the tower and deal with it from there. And the members of Super P just too strong, pushed too far forward. That's what a great push looks like.
Let's take a look at the rule set once more, because there are other maps other than Sturgeon Shipyard that these teams can choose from here. And you see Walleye Warehouse, Port
Cherry
Mackerel, Muscle
Limeade
Forge
needs
Fitness,
a
and
victory
Alpha
over
Hotel
here, and
as
they will
possible
still be
options.
fine.
It'll be the next game mode that'll be chosen
If
here
Super P
by Cherry Limeade. So you wonder what
hits
they're going to do here in this situation, because they were so close making
then
that impressive initial
Super P
push
gets
here
the
on
victory.
tower control
We're
on Sturgeon Shipyard.
Gets all
But
the
we'll see
tower
what happens
things,
this time
whatever
around.
remains.
Shiny, looking
All
back at
done
the
down.
good
Oh, we
things
hit
that
it now
Cherry
in the
Limeade
video.
did. What stood out to you
All
about
done
what went well?
down.
Well, if you looked at the leaderboard at the end, you would notice that
Super P in the
they're
finals
relying on their longer range weapons
against
a lot.
Starburst.
Their anchor and their utility player.
Cherry
in
Limeade
the
really
Jet
needs a win
Squelcher and
here.
Rapid Blaster Pro Deco, they're doing a lot of the work. So what they're doing well is winning those closer range 1v1s. So their Slayer type players are getting in there and doing their job in terms of winning those close knit battles. It's getting all the way to the back line and finding success like Shiny Boy was able to for a lot of that match, getting those long range picks. When you have a weapon that doesn't do great when your opponent is right in your face, when you can stay calm under all that pressure, it's bound to lead to results.
And 9, that's tough when it feels like you've really dominated a game for the majority of the time, and then all of a sudden just one swift push by the opponent ends up being a knockout. So for Cherry Limeade, if they want to stay alive,
That's
big adjustments
hard.
you see needing to come from them.
That's
Obviously depends on the game.
so hard.
Sure, and a lot of times the big adjustment in one of these games is you just have to identify a way to remain composed when an attack comes through, and I think that's the most difficult thing, especially when your comp doesn't have some of those easy fallback specials like a Stingray or a Missiles, where you can really step back and trust your teammates to move forward. You don't have to risk it all just for defense. That wasn't really an option in that last game, but if they counterpick right, they might have the opportunity to make that play happen.
So we'll have Clan Blitz coming up. I'll give you both one wild guess what map was decided. Shiny, any guesses?
What could it be?
The Rainmaker map?
Rhymes with Merchant Mipyard. Yes, we are going back to Sturgeon Shipyard for another match. And this is the counterpick by Super P. They're having a lot of success here. And take me into this thought process here, Shiny. Why are you just going to the same stage? Because obviously, not every stage is the same based upon the game mode. There are some game modes that lend themselves to different strategies depending on the map, but we have seen Sturgeon Shipyard chosen each and every time by Super P.
Well, if you're Super P, you know, what works for you, I guess you just want to stay with. On the opposite side of things, for Cherry Limeade, they can take some solace in the fact that they performed a lot better and got a handle.
This could be the last match. Super P is winning 2-0.
A lot of the
Cherry
same, whereas for
Limeade's
Cherry
really
Limeade,
falling.
they make a couple of adjustments. They go back to that fire fin rather than the
I don't know why I
and the
keep
Kensel Luna, which was, again, doing well at shutting down the back line, remains put.
We'll see if Super P can sweep all 3 games here on Sturgeon Shipyard.
Yeah, is it going to be a
If
sweep
not,
for
if Cherry
Super
Limeade
P?
can steal a game, I would imagine they might go
Or
to
will
different
Cherry
match
Limeade have a
after this. So far,
chance?
let's check out Voice here from behind. Voice picking up a nice little assist. Now,
So far, all 100 are remaining.
More clams here, trying to help with the team total. It's 4-1 on the map here, 9. I mean, why not make your push at this moment?
So far, they broke their barrier. Oh, they're really dropping. They're already halfway done. I think this is game for Cherry Limeade. 47 remaining. I think it's game for Cherry Limeade. Already, they're already in danger.
Look at this. Yes, they had
The
two
barrier's
down, but
back up.
immediately Lily is already down. All the members are going to be jumping back in there, and it's going to be a a dogfight just to get their footing.
That's
Already
a
a
nice
47
opening push for
remaining.
Super P. They take the 47-100 lead, and at this moment, they're up 4-3 on the field. And this is interesting. At this point here, Shiny, where you've made your push, the other team's got a power clam, you've got a power clam. Are you thinking more offense or more defense if you're Super P?
Well, to sort of riff on what Nine said, I think Lily might be the key in this match, and she's gone down yet again, unfortunately. That ink armor plays so well to your weapons like the Kenso Luna that have to be enclosed, and even your foil squeezer, who need a little bit of help to build up those bubbles.
Why is there football?
Used here.
What the heck is
For
this?
defense, but it's really not giving them that much of an advantage here in terms of moving forward. The great thing for Cherry Limeade, though, is that at least for the moment, time is still on their side.
As you mentioned, time is on their side. Both teams hanging on to a power clam. That ink armor coming out, 4-4 on the map. So somewhat neutral at this point, other than the score for Super P, as they are hanging on to a nice advantage. Shiny dropping down from the
Booyah!
heavens.
They broke the barrier. They broke the barrier.
We'll see if Cherry
Cherry
Limeade
Limeade has the
can add anything else
barrier.
to the total
It's
at
their
9.
chance to
That looks
get
like
some
just 20
remaining.
points. It's
80 to
a little bit hard,
47,
but still
Super
a lot of
P.
ground to cover for Cherry Limeade.
Yeah, and they gave up a lot of the map in the process of that as well because their anchor was the one that was trying to score. You can see that Synapse is already pushed up on that right side, and here carrying the power clam, 2 members. I'm not sure that anyone's going to be able to move through. Finally, Krim is able to get the respawn, and it's going to be just enough to slow it down. But you saw all the fighting, all the time, and all the resources to only get one power clam in.
Yeah, Shiny, Krim and Shiny might have saved a knockout right there. The two of them working against Super P, able to stuff that push. Now it's again Super P. They've got the clam control. They've got the power clams. Some tenta missiles coming out from Juan to apply some pressure. And this is a situation here for Super P. You might as well put your foot on the gas here still, Shiny.
The old saying goes, defense wins championships, but does it
We've
win
been at this
championships
for
when
an
you
hour and
have
5 minutes
hardly
now.
any offense? Now, the tricky part was that Super P was at 30 and Cherry Limeade was a lot lower. Now the claim counts are looking a lot closer. However, as Shiny goes down being the power clam carrier there, you have to think maybe they were a bit too optimistic about making that push. The only thing they really had going with them was the ink armor, and they lost a couple of their other specials too, the members going down. So with just an ink armor potentially coming up if they can get it, this is a tough spot for them to be as we approach the minute-and-a-half mark.
And you know what Voice is getting ready to do, jumping over that splash wall to go ahead and throw that power clam, able to
They
bust
broke the
open the basket, but
barrier.
we'll see if Super P can at least get through their penalty, and it's going to look like, again, another solid defensive push for Cherry Limeade, and you do see a couple of clams going in for Super P. We'll see if they just try to put them in.
Wow,
and
this is
find
insane.
precious time
15
with
remaining.
another power clam.
15
They're down
remaining for
15
Super
here.
P. Could this
Now
be
down
their
2
victory?
members at this point.
9-6-3.
Can they get it and get the knockout? Just one clam
3
away, but that
remaining
is a
for Super
full
P.
white 9, and that'll put the brakes on that push at the moment.
It's an 80 to
Just
3
barely.
lead.
You saw that Voice had the final clam that was necessary to put that one
The
away.
barrier's back
Synapse,
up.
a player who we
1
haven't gotten to
minute
talk about
left
much this
remaining
season.
in this
Great job
match.
of opening up that
Will
push,
Super P
putting
get a
it back
KO
on the right
bonus
side,
here?
not letting the defense get
Or
set up.
we'll just go
And
to
you see the missiles
overtime.
Once again, take out Shiny, who really hasn't been able to find their footing since this game has started.
Not over yet for Cherry Limeade.
Yeah, it's actually not over yet. Cherry Limeade still has a chance.
Even get back into this, and we'll see if Super P is going to try and go for the knockout. 2 power clams. There's the
Oh,
second
that's
one.
game.
There's the
Super
win.
P is in the
There's
finals.
the sweep for Super P.
That's another
With the
K.
consistent pressure
Oh.
and locking down home field
A
advantage.
3
That's
did.
Shipyard
It's
Shiny.
a 3
Really impressive
KO. Are
display
you
what we
kidding
saw
me?
from Super P
That's
in
a
all 3
3
last games.
KO. That's
Boy,
insane.
you look at the numbers of Super
Super
P there, 11, 10,
P
9, and 8
VS
final elimination counts there. That is very evenly balanced
Star
as far as the team goes.
Burst.
And their composition, I think, was just so well suited for Clam Blitz. I cannot understate how important a foil
Super P
squeezer
versus
could be to the
Starburst
composition there.
in
If you have those bubbles as an ability to push forward. It's sort of overall
Starburst
shielding
versus
you
Super
can
P
give the power clam
in
carrier. And of course, Nine talking there about Synapse, one of the most highly regarded Ken's
Who will win? Will it be Starburst
that's for
or
a reason.
Super
It is such
P?
a powerful weapon. And
Now,
piloted
we're
by
gonna
such
make a
powerful
prediction
player,
here.
it's
I'm
even
thinking
more
Super
devastating.
P is gonna win.
Let's go ahead and check out the
Okay, I'm
updated
actually thinking
bracket.
Super
You've
P
got
is
a
gonna
pretty
win.
clean floor
It
after a
could
couple
be
of
either,
sweeps here,
though.
as both Starburst and Super P are now in the finals, and you imagine this will be a highly competitive grand finals based upon just how well Starburst and Super P handled the competition. It will be best of 7, so we'll step aside here
best
in
of
just a
7, so
second,
it's gonna
but
be a little
before we do,
longer.
Another reminder about Play Versus.
All right, so
Play
now I'm
Versus
gonna be
is
AFK
Nintendo's
for
official
one
scholastic partner
last
for
time.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where thousands of high school players will compete weekly for a championship title, and players can now earn a varsity letter by gaming with their friends. You can sign up now to learn more about the fall season at www.playversus.com. Spread the word at your school and prepare to play in the fall season for 2023. Again, that's www.playversus.com. Starburst, Super P, Grand Finals. When we come back, don't go anywhere.
You were all talk when you left here, but you've nothing to show for it, Dee.
Oh, spare me, P. We should have sallied forth in the first place.
Surely the turn is mine.
I believe it's my turn next.
Honestly, you make more noise than the rabble at a feast. Even if you did stop its raging flow, it will soon burst through. Well, let us see how far the flow brings them this time.
We each have a lifespan of 10 years. We call them terms. Life begins with our first term and ends at the close of our 10th.
Victory!
And over the course of those 10 years, we fight continually.
What kind of pep talk is that? Of course we're gonna survive. I've thought about this a lot. About what I can achieve. What I'll leave behind.
Then I think of tomorrow and the tremors are back. Will I see the same faces when I wake? Will I even be around to see them?
Get ready. Now, the enemy is before you. Chase them to the ends of the world.
Unchecked, Ouroboros will lead this world to ruin. You must be erased.
These soldiers will nourish me, and we can always grow plenty more.
Stop toying with everyone's lives!
You gave us a choice. The choice not to fight. And you made it true.
That mark there. Late 10th term, eh? 3 months left. That about right?
3 more months. And then I'll be gone from this world.
How many of you are getting made an example of and hopes rested this time? The lost numbers are attacking!
We have good reason to meet with them. To bring peace. And to set the world to rights.
But take a look around. Think about how many lives it's cost. Annihilator started moving!
This is bad, Noah.
Now I want to live. To live and learn. So don't give up yet. This will buy you some extra time. Use it. Stop this! I don't want any of your time.
If the world holds our lives back, I will end it!
These are our lives here!
It is fate. Many have tried, but none have ever managed to escape its flow.
And welcome back to the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022 Event 2 Finals, and we are getting set for the Grand Finals. Jordan Kent here alongside Nine and Shiny, and as we take a look at the bracket, two teams that had no issues whatsoever getting to finals, both of them sweeping their opponents 3-0. We've got Starburst versus Super P, and the rules will change just a little bit in Grand Finals as we take a look at the best-of-7 format between these two top inking squads, and you'll see the game modes. They are familiar as normal, and the losing team will choose the game mode, but your maps are a little different, which, fellas, it means no more Sturgeon Shipyard. I have nothing against it. I just go and clap right there. But we saw Sturgeon Shipyard for 4 out of the 6 games in semifinals, and so we'll get a mix it up just a little bit. But Shiny, let's start with you. Starburst, Super P, two teams that are so dominant. Where do you find the advantage against either one of these? I mean, somebody has to win, somebody has to lose, but it really doesn't seem like either team has that many weaknesses.
Well, I feel confident in saying that these are the best two teams here. They finished first and second in the first day portion of this tournament. They were the only two teams, to my knowledge, with 10+ wins to their name. So they really, early on, even in Turf War, established themselves as powerhouses. And as Nine correctly mentioned, these teams are not strangers to this stage either. So really, it's going to come down to nuances. It's going to come down to minute plays where it seems like just a 1 or 2 down situation could swing the entire pendulum in the opposite direction, because both of these teams are great at maintaining a lead and keeping a stronghold grip on their opponents.
And Nine, when you get to the cream of the crop, you've seen so many types of these matchups here where it's two teams that really feel like they should beat everybody. What does separate them? What are some of those minor things? Is it more so the flow of a game, or is it just a couple of those key moments during any given game where one team got that extra splat to get that advantage and get that extra push? Where do you see things shuffling out?
Yeah, I would say that the overall game oftentimes comes down to a decisive moment. And by that I don't mean that there's always one moment where one team clearly wins and clearly loses. But we've seen how even going down 4-2 can result in a big cascade of one person going down on left, not able to coordinate specials. And being able to recognize those moments is not something that's easy to do. And that's why these teams are able to beat the teams that they've been able to in such dominant fashion. But really, I want to see the versatility that Super P can bring to the table. Because as we have noted, laughed at, and had a good jab at, it's all been Sturgeon Shipyard. They're not going to be able to do that here. They were able to stick with the same range comp they were last time. I wager we're not going to see it for all 3 games this time.
And really, when you look at the plays of the anchors here, Shiny, that really seems to have stood out for both these teams through semifinals. A great anchor allows the rest of the team members to do what?
I mean, like I mentioned before, it really allows your team to do what they do best. Without a confident anchor, you don't really have the backbone of your team's strategy. If your Slayers don't have the map control, the area to get in, or the anchor calling out the locations or giving them a little chip damage with something like a Stingray, then you're in big trouble.
All right, let's go ahead and put something on the canvas here. An Inkblot Art Academy Starburst Super P. And already taking a look at this, and this is going to be a nice little matchup with tower control here, Nine. And what checkpoint do you feel like is going to have the most mayhem typically here on Inkblot?
It's the second one typically, but Jordan, we don't have Ice's Stingray here. We have Ice on the Squiver? Excuse me? I would have lost all of my money if we'd taken this one over to a casino here. But, I mean, Ice's Stingray on this map in particular can single-handedly stop pushes and win games. And Ice certainly plays a good Squiver here, but to bring it out on a stage like this, the bravery and confidence that he must be feeling right now.
Well, we've seen Voice here, Shiny, already pick pick up 2 splats and an assist, trying to pave the way for Super P. So right now, when it comes to toe-to-toe, one-on-one matchup, Super P holding their own against the very strong Starburst team.
Yeah, Voice, I feel like more well-known for their Jet Squelcher, but opting to go for the armor farming weapon here. And I want to mention, too, that's the new Squipper. This has Auto Bomb and Baller. You want to talk about a special that has not been seen too much in recent memory. It is that Baller, but if you can use it and hold on to it while on the tower, or just hit crispy shots like that, you're going to do great things for the team.
Ice trying to mow down some more
so
members
far,
of Super
Starburst
P as
has
the tower moves to the second checkpoint. Here, this is where things get dicey.
Okay.
We see Bagel
I'm
off the
back.
tower. Sometimes
I'm literally sockless right now.
Try to get through that checkpoint.
And I went to go put on my
saw that Ice created a
my
little bit of
clothes to
space
get ready
with
for
that
bed.
baller. Jump back in. Bagel more than willing to give up on this push to try
I
to
went
get
to
a
go
secondary
put,
push and
yeah,
work
so
through
like
there.
I said,
However, the members
went
of
to go
Super
get
P
my
did a great job
clothes
moving
on
in there
from
well.
my
Is
bed
Signups really
because
going to win a 1v2?
I'm going to bed in like 30 minutes.
3 and Signups with almost a delayed.
I know, I go to bed pretty early,
Person,
guys.
though, is going to be Ice in the center.
Actually, no, I'm going to bed in actually 40 minutes.
What pandemonium. Yeah, splats and spawns left and right here on Inkbot Art Academy.
And,
I think what we're seeing here, Shine, is that these are 2 very equally matched teams so far, and you really like the resolve of both squads. It doesn't really seem like they're giving up much ground, able to bounce right back.
So far, it looks like Starburst has the win.
Critical moments where a team is able to turn the tide.
Well, it's not just their play
I'm
styles that are
literally
identical. 3
so-
out of the 4 weapons that they bring to
I'm
the
literally
table
also
are the
kind of
exact
soaked
same.
because
Now, the 4th
I
weapon
saw,
on each team
I
is not
heard it,
exactly a
because
meta
I was
pick.
literally on the second floor of my house. You could literally hear it. I was literally on the second floor of my house.
On both
I heard
sides of
the,
map, doing some great slaying as Biscuit is able to pick up a nice party triple.
I heard the chinks like when they have the tower and stuff.
Taking names and an opportunity for
Like that, what just happened now.
chopping into that second checkpoint.
I heard that, so I was literally about to rinse with my mouthwash. I literally spilled some of my mouthwash, and I had to clean it up. And I got it, some of it on my sleeve.
Yeah, and this is a very desperate play by Voice, just
But
trying
it's
to get
okay,
one
now
of the
we're fine.
attackers out. All at the same time, though, the baller finally coming in to create a
Super
little
P's
more
in
space.
danger.
It does look like they're
It's
going to force the
98-16.
members of Starburst back at least to prevent that checkpoint from being taken.
They are
it's going to be a
almost
long
done.
fight to get to center.
They
They've
are
done it very well.
almost
That's 2,
done.
a delayed 3 down.
Starburst
But of course,
almost
it's Biscuit
has
there to
it.
make their lives difficult on the back end. And this guy has just been a menace.
Biscuit, critical splat on the backside there, able to push forward. 4-3 advantage for Starburst. Minute 30 left. Here comes the tower. Once again, in control for Starburst. Booyah Bach coming for Biscuit and Shiny. It's really been Biscuit's ability to infiltrate the defenses of Super P and just cause mayhem.
Yeah, it feels like a Booyah Bomb's almost been an afterthought, although it does a great job there of getting the enemies off of the overlook here. Biscuit doing some camping now, spotted out by the 10 missiles, but is going to use the spot.
Okay, they're at checkpoint 3. They're in danger. 15 down.
We see Ice going down there. When he gets hit by something like a direct from that rapid blast from Pro Deco, it gets knocked very far back. So if you're not detonating at the exact right moment, it can really be more of a hindrance than an ability to get a cheeky little KO there.
They took it. They took the tower. Oh, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's game.
They send Super P to the canvas. Taking this first game here in 9, it really just continued to feel like the relentless pressure of Biscuit and what they were able to do, even when they were in a forcing situation, is what allowed
The KO bonus with 30 seconds remaining.
You hate as a
That was
commentator to put it all on one
insanity,
player.
guys.
This is a team game, but I would challenge you to watch that last 30 seconds of gameplay and point out where Biscuit made a mistake. Because for the life of me, I couldn't find it. Got the splats in the center to allow the team to come back. Moved up left to attack them as they were coming from the drop down, and then the second that Ice went down in the tower, rotated back, touched the tower to get it past the checkpoint, said, okay, I'm good, let me go attack the opponent, and then all the while had a Booyah Bomb in his back pocket to sustain the push. Perfect gameplay from Biscuit.
Yeah.
Yes, this combination Shiny, of not only the pressure of the 52 gal, but the splash balls that give your teammates room to operate also, right? You just can't be selfish and be the only one to duck between them, and that combination of offense and defense with a little bit of range seems to really make Biscuit that much of a menace for what Super P was trying to do.
Well,
I think we got another like half hour.
Things look so easy, and perhaps
Half
an
hour, I
underrated
think.
thing that they make look easy.
This
is
is
the
shorter
amount
than the
of
other
dodging that they're
Splatoon
able
2
to do with what is
Inkopolis.
perhaps a pretty clunky weapon in the K52. It's not that easy to sort of spot
is
dodge
good.
your way around a lot of these.
See, but like
higher velocity,
event 4,
higher
the
power
last
rate
event
weapons,
is
and
gonna
also
take
shorter
the
range
longest
weapons.
because I
But
think
Biscuit was able to
that
do
event
and
is
get back to an advantageous position
a good
in terms
2
of range,
hours
which is part
and
of what allowed
25.
them to get
Oh,
so
this
many
one is
splats
longer.
on the
Event 3 is longer.
So we're getting set for Splat Zones and Mako Mart here, 9. And
These
this
two
is
are the
a fast and
longest
frenetic
ones though.
map
So
and
that one
game
was
mode as well, too.
2:13. I cut
What
it
you have
down to
keep in
2:11
mind is
though.
you really want to,
This one's
again,
2:10. I
zone
cut it
and
down
then
to like
advance forward, keep that other team
1:40.
from building
I
up
think
their
I'm cutting it
specials.
down to 1:40.
Yeah, the story's been written on this map. This might be the most popular map and mode in the entirety of Splatoon 2 at a high competitive level here. And this is one of the maps where you actually do have a few different areas you can go to build up your specials on your side of the map. Opponents tend to not push right below your drop down unless they're very confident a win can be had from there. But the follow-up after the specials is going to be the interesting spot because you do have to fire them from a little bit further back from the zone. If the opponent is clever, they can identify that the specials mean the push is about to happen, retroactively position, and shut it down before it takes.
And Shiny, it's interesting because with so many different ways to get back to mid here on Mako Mart, when you're on defense, it feels like you're best to overwhelm the opponent in one particular spot rather than try to go 1v1 across the board with everybody trying to get back to mid.
Well, I hate to keep harping on it, but the
All
Android
right,
is going to
what's
play
up
such a
next?
big role in this one.
Mode,
Having that
splat
sort of
zones,
overlooked
control the
player
zones. This
that
is
can
the
call out where
classical.
sort of these cheeky little sharking motions happen, especially when we have weapons like the K-Shot come out on both
Starburst
sides
so
of the
far
beam.
is
It's
up
gonna be
1-0,
super important. Voice is
100
back on that
each
Jet
remaining,
Smoker,
and
we
game
are
2
again
of the
seeing
finals
eyes on
has
that custom
officially
variant, which
begun.
means more Stingrays are coming.
We'll see if Super P can tie things up at one game apiece. Starburst looking to build upon their lead. Zone already going to Super P, and they have the numbers advantage up until we saw
88 remaining already for Super P. But Starburst is in control. These teams are equal.
Yeah, and it seems like that's been a couple
And
members
now
just going
Starburst
down
is
to
taking the
bombs. They did
lead.
the perfect thing at the start. They got rid of Biscuit, but
Oh,
in
but
a lot
now-
of conversations, if Biscuit is treated as the best shooter in North America, Bran is almost always number 2. So you saw came in and cleaned up there and built a little more space.
Oh, they're
and
losing
rotated
control.
back around.
They're
Juan
in
saying,
control.
"Hey, I'm not too bad on
Super
this
P's
either."
in control.
And
This is
finally,
so
Super
close.
P has pushed enough members of Starburst back that we're going to get to see what their defense is made of.
80,
Shiny, it's
79,
plays like that.
78,
Juan getting a
77,
1-2 of
76,
both
75.
Bagel and Biscuit. You
Oh.
don't see too many players get a
And
chance
they
to
took
do
the
that in
lead.
any type of competitive mode.
Super
there
P
are a
now has the
couple
lead.
little Nice competitive motions.
Oh,
that
now
they
they
made
lost
there. The first
control.
one we just saw
They
was
lost
super
control.
jumping to a close by teammate to avoid
Oh,
a lot
now-
of the damage from that Stingray.
now
The
Starburst
second
in
is sort of
control.
walking slowly backwards and jumping while you're shooting with that shooter style of
And
weapon.
Starburst
and it can help
damage
you
is
stay at your
starting
maximum
to take
range and help you
damage
get kills that
now.
might be difficult if you're just standing still otherwise.
Oh, they lost control. They lost control. It's so close this game. Oh my god.
Gnaw into that penalty at this point. 4-3 advantage for Super P, but here comes that Stingray. And that's going to buy some precious time for Starburst here to sort of fortify their
They're in
defense.
control. 20 seconds.
P9 able to reclaim
19,
that zone.
18, 17,
Yeah, they've done
16,
a great
15,
job of
14.
at the very least not going
No,
too
they
many
lost
down.
control.
That time you saw
I'm actually rooting
finally
for
did
Super
go
P to
down,
win.
and they elected to give up the zone here in exchange for maintaining a little bit of map control. But they had once again done a great job of minimizing the effects of Ice's Stingray, and then surprise, surprise, right as we start on that line of dialogue, Ice is able to take 2 people out, and that is what has allowed Starburst to move forward.
Ink Armor coming out. You see Bagel applying a lot of pressure on the zone. Lead still now in the hands of Starburst after they turn things around. Super P trying to fight back. And that is going to be a splat on Bagel. 3-2 for Super P. Here's a chance right here, Shiny.
Boy, it took 3 players just to take down Bagel, but we're seeing a lot of the same cadence that we saw in the previous games. 2 players using their specials, and then the next 2. The K-Shot seems to be in sync for Super P with the Rapid Blaster Pro Deco, but they just went down. So Juan is going to have to use this Tenta Missile almost like a special that keeps them back from the zone.
Oh, they're in
Unfortunately
control.
for them, Starburst has multiple counter specials, the Stingray and the Tenta Missiles. That's
This
gonna
is
allow
so
them to start
close. I
eating
cannot
away
even
back at the
comprehend
enemy.
it.
Boy, 9. Starburst came roaring back, and how about the double splat for
So
Ice?
far,
Courtesy
Starburst
of the
has the
first
lead,
bomb
but
along
this
with
is
some
getting
sharp
so close,
shooting.
and they're starting to
that's, again,
take
another
damage.
one of those plays,
Super P's
9,
in
that's gonna
danger.
make a huge huge difference in this game.
It really is, and it makes it look so easy too, the way that he moves forward to get those. But again, he understood exactly where he could move forward because his teammate
they're
called out
30
where
down.
Ron went down. That meant the right side of the map was going to be free picking.
25 to 63. No, Super P. Oh, they lost control. They lost control. Super P, now they have to have good control in. And they already lost control. I think that's pretty much game. Yeah, now they're in control. 40 seconds left.
This plus shaped zone actually makes it, I think, a little bit easier for some weapons to paint. If you're shooting over
It
a
is
box,
actually.
or
It's a
you're shooting
plus
over
shape.
the cushion in the middle of the zone, it actually allows you to paint it a lot faster than some of the more rectangularly shaped zones. You can see that they're starting to group up here.
Ooh, look at that splat up there. And now they're starting to take damage. Yeah. That's game. Say bye-bye, Super P. And that is game, folks. Starburst up.
Another knockout.
2-0 with another KO from Starburst.
Able to just dominate the final minute and a half.
Dominated them. Just a good solid
consecutive knockout.
boom.
And now they're just 2 games away from claiming the championship.
Boom.
And 9 is
KO,
back and forth for a while,
baby.
but it really felt like for Starburst,
Starburst is
they
up
were able to
2-0
push
now.
forward and then use some
Now,
of their own specials
heading
towards
into
the end
Jordan,
before
9
Super P could. And that to me really felt like the difference.
It really is, and one of the big differences
Shiny?
there, we
No,
keep
not
saying his
shiny,
name, but we keep saying the name of the special. Ice's Stingray, right?
Shine,
Because the
shine,
thing about
shine.
missiles is, as strong as they are and as quickly as you can build them up, there's no direct pick that can fall from that, right? You're not always going to get a splat. When Ice fires
When they
that
said direct,
Stingray,
it made
it
me
picks one
think of
person out.
Nintendo Direct.
More often than not, that's
When is
going
the
to
next
be
Nintendo
enough, and
Direct
that
coming
really
out?
was the difference where they
Our
could
latest
blindly
one was
create
Mario plus
43
Rabbids
with
Party
their
Pro.
backliner. On the
Which,
other end, Super
how is
P
that even
ran double
possible?
missiles, which is strong.
Look here,
but
oh,
didn't
look it up
always
right
lead to
now.
Guaranteed picks that they needed.
Look at this.
Let's go ahead and check out the rules once again and see what other stages are available to roll with here. We've gone through Tower Control.
I'll look
We've
up
gone
my
through
thing.
Splat Zones, and we've seen Inkblot Art Academy as well as Mako Mart. So we'll see what game modes
So look at this.
he decides to go with here. And then,
Where
of
is
course,
it?
the map that Starburst will choose.
This one.
And for Super P, we're seeing enough in the first half of these games here,
So
Shiny,
this,
to go toe-to-toe
this
with Starburst,
video,
but when you're trying
Mario
to beat
Rabbids
these great
Sparks of
teams,
Hope
you
Direct.
gotta play for the entire time. You can't really have any mistakes or mishaps, and it just feels like Starburst is taking that one opportunity
Okay, there we
every
go.
single game and running away with it.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Sometimes the scoreboard does not
Look at
always
this.
tell the whole story.
That's my
And
streams.
it sounds like we're going to be
Should
going
definitely
to
go watch
Rainmaker
my
off that
streams.
contract, which
Unfortunately,
if
got
you look
banned
at
from
that map,
streaming.
You go from what is sort of a rectangular / square map to a very circular
this.
map. You have a circular zone in the middle. You
133
again have
views
sort of
on
a
the
oak
latest
style
Nintendo Direct
around
13
that
days
raised
ago,
portion
not
of the
even
map.
2 weeks
And
ago.
you also have a nice
And then
overlook
you
for
go
what I assume
to
to be both jet
one of
explosions
my-
that will be coming back into this next game. So
This video,
we'll see if they can
6
make
months
good
ago,
use. And again, sort of act as the
125
lookout for their
views.
team.
And first time we've seen Rainmaker so
This
far
one
in
has
this
more
Event 2 finals today.
in not
Now,
even
and
2
with
weeks,
the
and the
Rainmaker,
other
how do
one,
you
my
coordinate
second
your
most
pushing?
popular
Because,
video,
you know, this is
has
one of
like
those game modes where
6
if you blink,
months.
sometimes
It's
it can be
insane,
over, or it just ends
unbelievable.
up being this incredibly long stalemate.
Yeah,
All right, now back up
who's
these
going to be the
guys.
people who are running ahead of the Rainmaker, and you wait
Could
for
this
them
be
to be
a
in
win
position.
for
You wait
Starburst?
until Biscuit
A
or Brave
KO
falls out.
victory
Hey, I'm
again.
off my position. I've attacked. There's one down. Let's go here. And if you're Super P, I think you wait until you get Ice down to really make that dedicated push, because you know, presumably, a Stingray is going to be there to shut down your push before it can even get started.
Rainmaker, humpback, pump track. Hang on to your handlebars
Oh.
here. We'll see if Starburst
I'm
can
really
build
burnt.
a 3-0 lead in the special
Rainmaker!
7. Or can Super P finally bounce back and pick up a game here? We'll see both teams scurrying towards the middle, and Shiny will
All
let
right,
you go to the loadout.
Starburst is up
Point out anything
2-0.
noteworthy.
You guys can see
Yeah,
it. Here it
noteworthy. The
is.
biggest
But I'm
thing
pretty
that I
sure you
noticed
guys
is that
could.
Biscuit, who of course we talked about doing very, very well on the K52,
All right,
has
so
gone
we
to
could,
what I would consider their
get rid-
signature
No, I
weapon,
did not
which
wanna
is the
do that.
Novelist 79. This is kitted out with, of course, the suction bomb, which is a
Right there.
super powerful bomb with a store detonation. And
Right
then, of
there.
course, the inkjet. You want to talk about a map where you can build quickly.
Oh my
and
God,
quickly,
it's
and
already
then
going
whenever you see
mad,
that Biscuit is
sir.
here, this is the map for it.
Oh, but the inkjet comes back down to earth. Super P 4-1
This is the
advantage,
match
and here's
for
an
it.
opportunity.
So
now
far,
to saw
Super P
Starburst
looks like it
race
has the
out to
lead.
41
They're going crazy down. Starburst has the lead, actually. Never mind. Starburst has the lead. They're in danger. Oh, they lost the lead. Oh my god, this is going to be short.
Populated right now is
Super
Starburst
P
here.
with
This
the
is not what
lead.
you'd
Could this
expect
be
from an
Super
defense
P's
on their
first
end.
win?
It does look like they've managed to somewhat adroitly thrust that push aside and play a little defense there, but that was scary for an opening push.
Super P claiming the lead, so with plenty of time left, Super P has a chance to play a little defensively.
Yeah, this time Super P might get it.
Biscuit, as we mentioned, with
Super
that
P might take a
really
1
applying
win.
a lot of pressure, and you've got 3 special
Rainmaker's reset.
Starburst. Feels like this is a good time.
Wow, Biscuit
Let
just
it fly.
goes
Boy, this
straight
is a
for it.
combination here, the ink armor and the inkjet.
That's
The
kind of what
inkjet
you
has
gotta
gone through a lot
basically
of
do
different
for
nerfs and
the,
buffs over the life cycle of Splatoon 2.
there's the Rainmaker.
And here it sits now, when it has that ink armor with
They have
big
the
weapon
Rainmaker.
activated, it can really be so much more devastating.
So
and
far,
have a
Super P
greater
still
chance
has the
to stay
lead.
alive. We also see
Starburst looks like they could take it though at any
Stingray
time.
coming out at the same time as the Rainmaker being pushed, so Ice will stay back, try and find a straight line of sight, and then try to pick off or at least find any defending members of Super P.
Super P down 2 members. Here's a chance for Starburst to push forward and take the lead. They're being patient though here, Nine. That's what you see. They're not just racing ahead. Bagel trying to find an opening, but Super P doing just
Oh
enough.
no, they took the rain. They lost the Rainmaker. Starburst has the lead 30 to 34.
I know they lost the lead there, but I cannot stress to you how
Take the
impressive
Rainmaker.
that defense was from Super P. Missiles, armor, and a Stingray coming at you there, as well
And
as
take the
Biscuit's
Rainmaker.
delayed inkjet, and all you give up is just a few more points and not
Shoot, they're not going to get the Rainmaker. Okay, the
Rainmaker.
Rainmaker's reset.
So it's still a disadvantage state for Super P. They trail by 4, but here is the Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker, Super P, and the Rainmaker, they're trailing by 4.
Holding the golden fish, moving their way forward here. See Juan underneath, trying to throw a couple of suction bombs. Juan with those Tenta missiles about halfway ready and shiny at this point. You're trying to
At this point, they're about to do it. No, they lost the Rainmaker.
Patience with the push with
It's so
there.
close to Super
might
P,
just
though.
not have had enough patience there. They do have a great amount of map controller had, where Starburst now has regained it back. But the nice thing about the Neo Splash-O-Matic and the suction bomb rush
Oh,
is that it
Starburst
can
has
be
the
both
Rainmaker.
offensive and the defensive spectrum.
Not
You
looking
can
good
be
for
right in the
Super
middle
P
of the
already.
action and pop those suction bombs right at your feet, and not only gain map control, but have a great chance to take out one of your foes as well.
Here is Biscuit trying to mow a pathway for their teammates, and just so adept at just not only regaining map control, but it's that pressure that they apply to 9. And
Flat? This flat zone looks like...
Yeah, even
Oh,
more points, and I don't mean to
no.
aggrandise that Stingray anymore that I already have here, but
24-34, Super P trailing by 10.
where you want to and having a straight line to where the opponent has to go to defend
I really
it
want
here.
Super P
They're
to
gonna get
win.
a few more points off of that as well. They do have 2 members in the middle, but look who's waiting for them. Biscuit once again making sure they don't give up too much space.
Biscuit inkjet ready to go.
Rainmaker reset. Close to it's close to Biscuit.
10-point lead
But
for Starburst.
Super P could still get it.
Well positioned to play a little bit of defense.
Oh,
here.
yellow
Biscuit
ink
moving forward,
surrounding
that
her
inkjet
all
trying to
around
cut
it.
down a few members of Super P. You see the
Shoot,
retreat
and
of the
Starburst
Super
has the
Dog.
Rainmaker.
And now at this point,
It could be
Shiny, if you're
3-0
Super P, you got a
Starburst.
special ready to go, but you're down 4-3 on the map.
Here's what's going for them. Starburst used every single special that they had at their disposal, and now it's Super P's turn. They were able to use the 10 missiles, and now they've just gotten the use of the suction bomb rush. Juan now having to rely on the main weapon, but just can't find the range against Ice, who will finally fall.
Oh, 35 seconds.
They still have at their disposal.
Who has a splat lead? I think
That was
Super
their last
Starburst
10
does.
missile. So the main thing they're going to have in the last 30 seconds is the armor if the Rapid Blaster Pro Deco can build it up.
Okay, now I think Super P needs to
up top, just raining down ink.
I don't think they need to. Now I think they need to splat the zone.
Super P up against the wall, and that is what Biscuit has been doing on this.
If I were on Super P, I'd just splat the zone. Yeah, see, look at him. Oh my god. Oh, I think it's done. Oh, that's game. I think Super P took their first dub. Are we going to overtime? That's game. I think Super P took their dub.
Won't be enough to get them that game as
Who took the dub?
Counter push there by Super P to give themselves a chance to win that game.
I am devastated, bro. I'm rooting for Super P.
Bagel and Starburst tucking in Super P.
Starburst just tucked right in Super P.
We just continue to
now,
see those plays. And this was the conversation before finals started.
Starburst has a 3-0 lead.
3-0. Is it going to be really what happens throughout the entire game, or some of those key moments? And it feels like what we're seeing now.
Starburst up 3-0.
Where it's a double splat or a triple splat or a 2-for-1 that is really going the favor of Starburst more so than Super P.
Man, some might say it takes
This is
nerves to switch off of
100,000%.
a
I'm
weapon
gonna be
that's
AFK
doing so
for the last
well
time.
for you, like Biscuit did there, switching from the K-52 over to the Nautilus 79. But look how well it played for them. Super P stuck to their guns, which is, of course is admirable, and antenna missiles can be very, very strong on this map, of course, both for the damage and for knowing where your enemies are. But with Starburst having that extra offensive capability with the armor in tow as well, it really makes you distracted if you're Super P to also have to be looking up into the air as often as you're looking straight ahead. So while Starburst had to worry about the little circles coming right at their feet, on the opposite side of things, Super P was staring away from the Rainmaker, and that allowed Starburst to really take some strong pushes forward.
So we know our next game mode will be Clan Blitz here, 9. We just don't know what map, but at this point, if you're Super P, I mean, you're showing signs of being able to go toe-to-toe here with Starburst, but what do you do differently if you're Super P? Because we're going to have Clan Blitz at the Reef. Is there anything they can do to change things up? Or at this point, is it just really a display of how dominant Starburst can be when they're playing at this level?
They've shown flashes, right? And I think at this point, there hasn't been any major comp change that came out from the members of Super P. Typically, if you go down 0-3, it means you don't have another real comp that you can bring out here. So I think from their perspective, they do see the moments where they've been able to take leads, where they've been able to go toe-to-toe. It's just the game plan that Starburst sticks to, following up Ice's Stingray with some missiles, or following up one of Biscuit's inkjets with some armor to extend the life of that inkjet. It's so consistent, and they're able to make it work over and over. Now, what I will say, for those of you who are thinking, is this deja vu? It is not. These two teams did play Clan Blitz a few months ago in the NA Open back in March, and Super P really gave it to Starburst in that. So maybe they thought it was a fluke. They didn't want to go back to it too early, but let's see if they can do it again. Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see what they decide to go with and what Biscuit decides to roll with here. And Shiny, when you see the success that Biscuit and Ice are having, if you're going against them, do you try to make a concerted effort? Hey, we got to just make sure we're having at least 2 players on Biscuit at all times, because we're not going to take care of anything in a 1v1.
Boy, if I were worried, I think it would be more so if Rainmaker were the mode. But Clan Blitz is not really a mode that goes to 100-0 quickly that often. So there will be opportunities in multiple team fights for them to find success. And as we see here, Ice swapping over to a Bamboozler variant, that's going to give them a little bit closer range in terms of how they need to play. But this is a map that can lend itself really well to that type of playstyle. The look over on the bridge can be super useful for that.
So here it is, 3-0 Starburst to trying to get the sweep here and win the championship here in the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022 event number 2. And right now they're well on their way. But it's the 3-1 advantage on the map for Super P, and this is the kind of start they're looking for here, 9.
Yeah, and you know, I really shouldn't have said anything. Commentators curse here. I said they didn't have another comp to bring out. How about this? They are now going a 3-shooter comp alongside of Leo on that Rapid Blaster Pro Deco. This is a much faster comp, and it's going to be much better at forcing the scramble situations that they've been getting outplayed in. You can see Juan at the top of the screen attacking. Leo sitting in the middle, scoring more. Boyce is going to be able to come back in if they so choose. And how about that? A complete role reversal, and they're still scoring.
And how about this initial push by Super P here, Shiny? I mean, this is just a huge confidence boost. You gotta imagine, you come out the gate, you start this game just like this in under a minute, you build a huge lead, 32-100.
It takes ballers of steel to play a baller in this meta, and especially, too, not just the special, but the sub of the point sensor. That is not a very oft-seen special that is useful for marking your opponents, but that's about it. The nice thing about it, as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, is that it lingers for a little bit. So if any members of Starburst, aside from those who are caught, happen to walk through it, it's going to mark them for their teammates. And as we saw at the beginning there, the 52 is such a strong shooter with its 2-shot capability.
Oh my god,
arguably the largest deficit Starburst has faced today. We'll see if they can come back down 100-32. Here's Bagel able to get the completion with the basket. It's now 4-2 on the map, and just like that.
Oh my god!
I blinked and they had 30 clams. What in the world there to build 2 power clams that quickly as they are outplaying the members of Super P in neutral?
This
again shows how versatile and strong this team is. And you can see here again
the
patience.
15 down.
Rotates back
Starburst
immediately.
is
Still has
almost
another
about to
threat.
get
Now
the
Brave is
cup.
moving up to attack. Ice is going to roll on up and extend it once again. They have enough plans to win it. Will they be able to do
that's
it? They
game.
do. Biscuit
fittingly with the very
Biscuit with
to
the
put this one to
insane
bed.
count.
The Brooms
That
are
is
on
game.
Starburst with a clean 4-0 against Super P.
A clean
If there
4-0
was any
Starburst
doubt,
victory
about the
against Super
capabilities of
P.
Starburst. They were
That
looking at the
is
largest
the
deficit
ball
they faced in
game.
this tournament today. And what do? They march right down the middle of the reef and go 100
That was
to 0
insane.
with that push. And it goes to show you just how
Starburst
dominant this team can be when they play at this level. But really, it's the poise of this roster and how no matter what type of
Starburst
adversity
run,
they
guys,
face,
and that's
they
going
have
to do
the
it for today's
confidence to stare
Splatoon 2
it right in the
Inkopolis
eye.
Showdown, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, sub, bell, all that good stuff. Next vlog. Peace.